Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going over this pistol that you guys see in my hands right here, and this one is the Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 9mm Core Pro Series, and it's a gun that actually a lot of people have been asking Smith & Wesson a long time for. So the 2.0 has been out for a while now, and they actually released an optics ready version of their Shield, which people were kind of like, why don't you have a full-size optics ready yet? You have the Shield 2.0 out with an optics, which, side note, I do have a review of that. So those folks, their questions have been answered, and now we have it here. So this is the 4.25-inch version in 9mm. It also comes in 40, 45, and a bunch of other configurations. This one here has no thumb safety. They make one with it. Again, that's kind of up to you guys to decide. Regardless, we're going to get an up-close look at it, go into a lot of the details of the pistol, and then at the end we'll wrap it up with sort of how it's performed and my thoughts on it overall. When you get your pistol in, outside of the manual and a trigger lock, this is basically what you're going to get with the gun, sans the optic, of course. So we do have these interchangeable back straps, and there are 4 of them with this particular pistol. You also get 2 17-round magazines, I should mention that. And to actually change these grip inserts out, it's pretty simple. All you do is take this little piece right here, pull it out, and then at this point, it will just come off like so. And then you just pop the other one right back in that you want to use, and that way you can set the gun up so that way it's a little bit more ergonomic for you, because everyone's hands and preferences are a little bit different in that regard. But yeah, so you get 3 of those, and then you get this kit right here, which will basically work with just about any red dot that's out there on the market right now that's commonly mounted on pistols. There may be an outlier exception that I'm not aware of, but almost all of them will be able to fit by swapping a plate out should you need to do so. And that plate, you guys can see it, it's right there just underneath the optic. This one, of course, is set up for the Trijicon RMR, but again, all of the major ones are in this kit here. And I almost failed to mention this. Whenever you get anything Performance Center, whether it be a pistol, revolver, whatever, they actually give you a legit cleaning kit. Like, I don't know that that's a big deal to anybody, but I'm sure it is for some folks. And it's quality stuff that works, and you can keep your pistol running for a long time using that and a little bit of CLP. Now we'll get into the details on the pistol itself. Of course, the 2.0 has that, what I consider anyway, to be improved texturing. It's a little bit more aggressive. If it's too aggressive for you for whatever reason, say you're carrying the gun inside the waistband and it rubs you wrong, you can always take some sandpaper and make it a little bit less aggressive. But I like the aggressive grip texture of it. Fits my hand great. Doesn't move around in the heat, so that certainly is good. It has that nice 1911 style grip angle, so for most folks it's going to point very naturally in their hands. We do have a reversible mag catch here. It's not ambidextrous. Again, that's my personal preference. You guys can see the magazines here are cut for either side, and it's relatively easy to swap over if you want to put it on the other side for you lefties out there. However, our slide release there is ambidextrous, and it's enlarged on this gun, so it actually sticks out a little bit more than it does on the standard M&Ps. I was a little bit leery of that because I'm one of the people that stay with like SIG P226s or Glocks that have the enlarged slide release there. I accidentally actuate it from time to time. That never happened here on this pistol, for what it's worth. Continuing on forward to the trigger, there are some things that are a little bit different about this trigger than your standard M&P. First off, you're going to notice that the over travel stop there is enlarged on this one to reduce, of course, the over travel. So it does still have this little trigger safety there, so that way you can push as hard as you want, but if you're not actually pressing the trigger by depressing this little lever here, it will not fire. It's also a drop safety, one of the 2 different drop safeties I suppose that this pistol has, but the trigger is nice. We have that sort of slop there, I guess you'll call it, on the take up, and then you get right there, and that's it. That is a short break for M&P, and my mic probably won't pick it up, but it has a very tactile reset as well, and audible. For whatever reason, my mic doesn't like those, but trust me, it's happening, and I can hear it in real life. And the brake there on my particular model is right there, around 4.5 pounds, but it's super clean. We'll show you here when we take it apart, because all of the internal parts have been polished. So that is nice trigger guard there for glove shooting or those sorts of things. We do have our takedown lever, which we'll get to here in just a second. Continuing on forward, we do have a 1913 rail on there, so any of your lights, lasers, etc. that you want to mount on there, you can. Additionally, the serial number of the frame or of the firearm rather, is on the right side of the frame protruding, and there is a steel insert in there to give the frame a little bit more rigidity and less flex than most polymer guns have. Continuing on up to the slide, it does have the armorite finish, as do a lot of the internal parts on this gun. Now that's Smith & Wesson's version of melaniting, which will give you good surface hardness, good corrosion resistance, good lubricity. And what's cool about that versus like chrome or something like that is that it actually impregnates the material to a degree, a certain amount of those properties, so that way even when you can see the wear here that you can on the front from going in and out of ulcers and stuff like that, that those melanated properties are still imparted into that stainless steel. So it's definitely a finish that a lot of companies are using, and there's a reason for it. Continuing on back, we have these little mini front serrations, which I always laugh at because you can't use. The reason for that is if you want to do a press check, what ends up happening is the slide gets a little fatter right here, so you can only get your fingers back about 1/4 of an inch, but I guess they take some weight off and they do kind of look cool, so I'll give them that. You guys can see the markings there with the C.O.R.E M 2.0 on there, Smith & Wesson logo. The serrations on the rear, though, as opposed to the serrations on the front, are fantastic. They're some of the best out there, in my opinion. Very, very easy to use. It's hot out here right now, and my hands are sweating a little bit. I got no problem grasping onto those serrations at all. We do have a loaded chamber indicator there on the barrel. Sights there are suppressor height sights, and they're all steel, which is nice if you're not going to use a optic with it. That nice flat edge there on the rear is good for one-handed manipulations and those sorts of things. And then, of course, the optics mount in front. Disassembling the pistol is pretty straightforward. Of course, you're going to first make sure that you do not have a magazine in the pistol. At this point, we're going to lock our slide to the rear by pushing up there on the slide lock. We're going to verify no ammo is in the gun. So at this point, you can move that little sear lever right there, the yellow one. We'll roll in a picture if you guys can't see it here on your screen. You can push that forward and that will deactivate it, or you can actually just take this out. You can do so, rather, I should say, by pushing it forward with the tool that is in your grip. It's a little bit, doesn't want to go. There you go. Push it forward like that, or you can just actually rotate your lever down here, let your slide go home, and press your trigger. But since we actually had that forward, we didn't have to press the trigger. So for folks that don't like pressing the trigger, hey, there you go. You got yourself an option. So as I mentioned earlier, everything's all polished up, all of the trigger component surfaces, all of those sorts of things. That's one of the things you get with the Pro Series gun on there. And again, there's that steel that we mentioned earlier. It's a little bit chunky, which is nice, but the pistol's not heavy. I think it's only like 28 ounces unloaded or something like that. That does include our stainless steel guide rod there, and then our barrel. This is the 4.25 inch, of course. There are other versions. Nice wide mouth on there for feeding hollow points and pretty much anything. And as you guys can see on the inside of the slide, there's no machine marks or anything like that. Again, our striker safety there is all polished up, as is the striker itself. At this point, we've covered most of the actual specific details of the pistol itself, so let's talk about performance. So reliability-wise, we had issues with this gun from the factory, unfortunately. That said, they're resolved. So basically what I was getting with this particular gun was light strikes, and that was regardless of ammo. Obviously, Minuteman Munitions is my 9mm ammo sponsor, so that's the majority of what I run through it. However, for whatever reason, we were getting a bunch of light strikes, so we changed it up, ran a bunch of Federal through there. Still, light strikes, probably like 1 out of every 20 rounds or so would be a light strike. I don't know what that was. And you know, I took it apart, looked at the striker, everything looked good, put it back together. Still light strikes, right? So sent the gun back to Smith & Wesson. They sent it back and didn't note what they actually changed, and I didn't ask as a fair point to them. But they sent it back, light strikes again. It kept still having them. So. Light primer. Light primer. Eventually, after that, Smith & Wesson sent me a new striker assembly. After that, I've not had a single light strike of any kind. We ran 400 rounds through it since, and it's been fine. So I think it was just an out-of-spec striker assembly. Is what it is. Sometimes those things happen, but Smith & Wesson has really good customer service, and they're known for that. So, hey, they fixed it. They made it right. It is what it is, but regardless, I just tell you basically how it's functioned, and that's how it's functioned. After that, again, it's been just fine. Things I like about it, the ergonomics of the M&P series are simply fantastic. It's got a nice low bore axis. They shoot well. They actually give you sights that are usable with an optic, unlike some other competitive offerings out there that give you an optics ready slide, but low sights, which that doesn't make any sense. So there is that. I like the trigger. I like the fact that M&Ps are basically everywhere now. So like if you walk into a gun shop, they're going to either have an M&P or accessories for it, holsters, those sorts of things. There's lots of aftermarket parts for it if you guys want to swap stuff out. That stuff's awesome. And then the last thing, of course, is going to be price point. They're not inexpensive, as you can imagine. However, a lot of competitive offerings that offer similar things are much more expensive. So the MSRP is right around $700, just depending on the actual model. This particular one is $700. Now, I'm filming this in October of 2020 when there's a gun buy spree we've never seen before in history, literally. So right now on the street, they're probably going to be around MSRP because they're going to sell at that price right now, and that's going to be the case for a while. If you're watching this 5 years from now, that might not be the case. You might be able to find them a little bit lower. Regardless, there will be a link in the video description or pinned in the comments section if you guys are looking to pick one up. But yeah, M&Ps are great. They are absolutely a proven design at this point, and they're great guns. And if you guys are new to guns, you want an optics ready full-size pistol that can perform a variety of roles, this is definitely one I would take a look at for sure. If you have any questions about the gun that we didn't answer here or anything like that, you can always post those down below in the comments section. However, the best place to reach me if you actually need an answer is over at my Facebook page. And I don't know why I did this for comments section because that doesn't make any sense. But regardless, I meant to put Facebook page in there. That's the best place to reach me. I do get back to everybody over there. Sometimes it takes me a little bit because there's literally hundreds of thousands of you and only one of me. But that's definitely the best place regardless. If you guys aren't subscribed and you like the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. If you are, make sure you have the notification bell on. And I think that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, guys. I look forward to seeing everybody in the next video.